Hey everybody, Manitoba Hal here, and I'm coming to you from a hotel room in the United Kingdom where I'm on tour, and it's time for the fourth Tuesday video for the month of April. And today we're going to talk about how to create your own riffs within the blues. Now this is a fairly broad topic, and I don't think we're going to get time to do a comprehensive look at it today, but we'll get a few basics together and we'll start to get an understanding of how you go about taking an ordinary blues progression and turn it into something a little more fancy or slick that can be used to improve your playing, improve the excitement or the movement in your chord progressions to keep people listening. So let's start with the basic idea of our C blues progression, which as we know is 4 bars of C, just like this. G7, F, and C. Now, that's a basic progression. Of course, we've got the shuffle in there so that we have a little bit of motion from that. And we have our, we got the shuffle going on our F7 our chord, our F to F7. And then we've got our G7, F, and C. And as far as the turnaround goes, I just did the straight 1 bar of C and a little chromatic rise up from our F7 chord to our G7 chord on the 3rd fret. Now, if I'm going a little fast for you, I apologize. That F7 chord, by the way, was a 4-fingered F7. So starting from our G string, you'll be covering frets 2, 3, 1, and 3. And it's like your traditional F7, but with the addition of the pinky on that 3rd fret. And that allows it to be a movable chord so that when I bring it up to the 3rd fret, that goes from F7 to F sharp 7 to G7. So, where do we go from here? We have our basic progression, and we've got our song, Bye-bye, maybe don't you want to go? There's a whole space right there I could use, and hey, don't you want to go? There's another space I could use. Back to that same old place, that's my sweet home, Chicago. Alright, so what we were looking for now is something that emphasizes the rhythm that we're playing and the melody that we've chosen to sing, and that is easily accessible from where we are. Now, if we're playing a C chord, the first place I always look for these kind of things is other C chords. So this is my open position, my first position C, and you can see with my G, C, and E strings wide open, and I'm covering the 3rd fret on the A string, giving me a C. But I could just as easily use this C, which is the 2nd position C, and this is where I'm covering, starting from the G string, frets 5, 4, 3, and 3. I'm doing a partial bar on those two there, and I've got that as an option. I've got a straight C7 chord, which is a bar at the 3rd fret, and my middle finger on the 4th fret of the C string, giving me a C7 chord. I have got a C up here at the 7th fret. This is my G chord shape. So I've taken that G chord from down here and I've brought it all the way up to the 7th fret. That is a C chord as well. And of course, the reverse of it is true. The G7 shape, if I brought that up to the 6th fret, is also a C7 shape. Now, if I combine those things with the pentatonic minor scale, I get an opportunity that something like this. I can go, hey, baby, don't you want to go? Hey, there's my F. Don't you want to go? That same old place, that's my sweet home, Chicago. Now, just in case that went a little fast for you, let's go over what I just did. I was playing my basic C chord in the 1st position with my shuffle, and then when I finished the singing, I went up and did this thing where I slid up to that 6th fret C7 chord, grabbed these two, the E and the A string at the 3rd fret, which is a C5 chord. So C7, C, And that is just a little riff based on the C minor pentatonic scale, which runs, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, from fret 6 on the A string, 3 on the A string, 6 on the E string, 3 on the E string, 5 on the C string, 3 on the C string, 3 on the G string, 5 on the G string, pardon me, and 3 on the G string. And that gives you your C minor. So we've got this. And that 5 on the G string, that is your C note. That's the same as your open C. So you're looking for riffs that use those notes and the chords. So I slid up here and move on to my F chord, and then back into. So that's one of the ways to do that, is just look at chords that can move and how you can combine them. But we can go a step further and we can create riffs with partials based on the scale. So using that same C minor pentatonic scale, so 6, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. I can do the same kind of thing where I can go, hey, baby, don't you want to go? So I'm grabbing the 2 middle strings there. On my C string, that's the 5th fret, and my E string, that's the 6th fret. And that's just a piece of that scale. So by doing things like that, I can create a little bit more movement and interest in the changes, and I can throw them in the middle of my vocals. The key to making these riffs sound good is look for your resolution and your tension, so you want to play on that. Sometimes it's really good to not resolve it, sometimes it's better to resolve it. And also listen to the rhythm of your melody so that it feels like you're now taking your ukulele into a place where you're singing the lyrics musically, if that makes any sense. You don't have to do an exact melody, but rhythmically it's very important. So if I have this thing, it's like, hey, baby, don't you want to go? I've got to come up with something right in the middle there and be like, you know. So that's that same scale. Like, so that's a build up from the 6th to the 3rd on the A string, back to the 6th on the E. So it's like, so I jump down to the 5th on the G, but if you don't have a low G, you could just go from the 5th on the C string to the open C. So that same riff without using the low G is. And of course, you might be watching my right hand. I am just plucking, but with a combination of my thumb, my index finger, and my middle finger. So now you can do that with just a pick, you know. However you feel comfortable striking those strings. The trick is to not let the other strings ring. And to that end, I want to give you a suggestion about something blues players have known for a long time, palm muting. Now, if your style is way out here and you're playing this sort of folk finger picking style, which I don't mean to be negative towards, you've got no way to mute those strings other than with your left hand. But if you play back here with this as a mute, you can control which strings ring by suggestively lifting, or suggestively, that's the wrong word, by just slightly, is what I'm trying to say, lifting your palm on the string that you want to ring. So here I've got a ringing note, but you can hear that these ones are deadened. They still have a note there, but they don't ring very strongly because my palm is laying on the bridge right where they contact. If I take my palm away, you hear the difference in that ring. Very muted. And that allows me to get a little extra out of it and a little bit more control as I'm playing. Now, when you want to play riffs on other chords, so in this case I've just created a couple riffs on C. If I wanted to do a riff on the F chord, in this same progression. I would still stick with the C minor chord, but I would try to center it on F notes. So learning your notes are really important here. Now in this case, my first F note here is the first fret on the E string. That is an F. So if I were to be playing a riff and I wanted an F thing, I would do something like this, you know. Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Stay on C, then we go to the F and I'll do something. I said, hey. Baby, don't you wanna go back to that same old place? That's my sweet home, Chicago. So think in those terms. How can I make the leap from my melody to the next change? Look for runs that lead you to that change. So if I were playing on an F here and I know I was going up to G, I could look at and I also have some other changes available to me. For one, the C minor scale as I know it in the first position is 3-1, 3-1, 3-0. And if I want to play a G7 chord, I'm covering the 2 on the C string, not the 3. I'm covering the 2 on the A string and not the 3. So what I have there is all those 3 notes are available to me, just like all those notes are available to me on the C string. And that's because they're chromatics. Now, the trick is, when you're playing these notes, they're referred to as passing tones. Don't linger. If you linger on them, you can get that dissonant sound or that enharmonic sound that is a little challenging for the ear and might be considered an off note or a wrong note. So I would suggest that if you are playing something to play on that G, use it as a thing where you're, you know, traveling along. And that's pretty much it. Now after that, it's a whole lot of trial and error. Just sit down and figure out what works best for you. Figure out what will complement your playing. And don't be in a rush. Don't try to play everything really quickly. The best way to play a fast riff is to play it really slowly but accurately and get used to how you're going to do it. I recommend scale exercises. So find yourself a copy of the pentatonic scales. Practice just using your different fingers to play the different shapes of the scale as it travels up and down the neck, like you see me doing here. And once you get used to where those shapes lie and you have them memorized, it becomes a lot easier to throw them together instead of thinking in terms of, I've never played these notes before and I don't know where they are. So there you have it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video on creating riffs and interest in your blues playing. I'm really glad you tuned in, and I want to send a special thank you out to all my Patreon subscribers. It's because of you guys that I can keep these videos coming, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, if you haven't heard of Patreon, basically it's a subscription service where for as little as $1 per video, you get access to special behind-the-scenes content and some tutorials and traveling videos with me as I tour. And you're basically helping me to continue to create these videos for free content for everyone. You don't have to give only $1 per video. You can give as much as you wanted to give, but it's up to you. You're fully in control. And please take a chance and look at it. If it's something that suits you, welcome aboard. I hope I'll see you and interact with you plenty of times on our Patreon forum. And if it doesn't suit you, these videos will continue to be free. So thank you for watching. And as always, like, share, and comment on any medium that you happen to see this video. If it's on YouTube, please interact with me there. If it's on Facebook, interact with me there. I'm always open to questions and suggestions. And I want to make these videos for you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.